At 11 tonight, a backyard thief is on the run tonight after being caught on camera stealing bicycles from Southeast Roanoke.
And what makes this worse is the victim is someone who routinely donates bikes to people in need and helps the community. 10 News reporter Shane Dwyer is in studio tonight with this story of disrespect and frustration.
You know, Bernie and John, the police have been telling us now for a few years now that those cheap cameras that you can buy on Amazon pay for themselves time and time again. This is a perfect example right here when you can see this man walking off with bikes that are clearly not his. And when his face got blasted all over Facebook, lots of other people came out and said that guy has stolen from them, too.
The video is in black and white, but make no mistake, this was broad daylight. While everyone else is at work earning their take, this guy was eyeing two bikes to take.
One of them was, I remember riding as a kid when I was 11 years old, right? It was my dad's first real road bike. And so, he rode that thing from New Jersey to Virginia a few times and definitely used it as an inspiration for me to get into cycling.
Inspiration that led Stephen Ambrose around the world and eventually right to Roanoke. He started Downshift Bikes and Brews 2 years ago. We've done news stories before about how part of his business plan is giving bikes away to people who can't afford them.
It's sort of frustrating to think about. I mean, Downshift definitely works hard to provide bikes for people in need. The gentleman on the video didn't necessarily look like he needed one and probably didn't, but chose to take them anyway.
The bikes were locked up under his backyard deck. This guy went through a fence to get them and was gone within minutes. Once the video hit Facebook, tons of neighbors posted saying this guy stole from them, too.
People steal stuff for a lot of different reasons, and you don't know what's going on with individuals, and it'd be wrong to sort of pass judgment on this.
Ambrose still maintains his giving heart, though, even if he doesn't get the bikes back. And he hasn't given up on his Southeast neighborhood either, somewhere that many people have long written off.
You want to trust the people that you live around, and it was more like, that sucks. What can we do to make this not happen? What can we do to improve the situation we live in?
Police continue their investigation into this matter. There's not a whole lot else that they can say right now, but I know tonight there are a lot of people out there hoping that someone watching tonight recognizes this man right here who's clearly taking bikes that are not him from a guy that does good work in this city and that they turn them in. In the studio, Shane Dwyer, 10 News, working for you.